How's everybody doing today? We're exciting times are afoot, Stu. Let me tell you why.
Okay, tell me.
I cut you off from your why. We have guests. We actually
Oh,
have
of
guests
course.
today. We don't have guests that often. We actually have some veterans here with us, some veterans of the WriteYourBook.ai challenge we did not too long ago, which we are doing again on starting on Monday. Now, Stu, you
Yes.
were attacked by the WriteYourBook.ai challenge, weren't you? You were telling us earlier that I made you do something. I bullied you. I bullied
Well,
you.
yeah. Well, here's. Let me give you some context to this.
Uh-huh.
I had written and rewritten. I think I came up with a 4-part series that I wrote from scratch that year, and then I rewrote, updated 4 more books. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd been 8 new books basically created that year. And whenever you were doing this AI challenge, book challenge, I was like, that'll be fun. I can help coach. But no, Jim made me do one. And I tell you, I literally thought I had no creative output left in me. I need to take a break, because anytime you write a book and you're selling books, you need to practice selling books too. So I was kind of like in book selling mode, not book writing mode. And I was able to get one done. And it has been a big life changer for me in a way that saves me a significant amount of time because with my audience, I see new kids come into this journey of wanting to go into the tactical professions and spec ops jobs, and they make the same mistakes every year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just constantly recoaching these same mistakes of like, don't do this, do this instead. Instead, now, what did I do, Jim? I made a mistakes book,
Uh-huh.
and I just give it away. Like, just if they buy something, I give it away. Read this. Yes, it works.
No, I was going to say, did you get a print version so you could grab it with, do the
I have not printed
reinforcement
it out
thing?
yet. I should send it to Lulu and put it in print. But it
Well,
right now it's just an ebook.
I did do a training a week ago on how to take that book and turn it into, print on demand on Amazon. I know you know how to do that, but
Oh
I'm
yeah.
just
I
saying.
mean, it
Okay.
is just something that I haven't thought of selling the printed product yet, but I should.
So one of the things that you just demonstrated or you just explained was that there's never, whether you've written a book before or not, there's never a perfect time to decide you're going to write a book. There's always an excuse as to why now's not the right time.
Yes.
And part of the reason why there's that excuse is because the way most people think about writing a book is I'm going to have to sit down, chain myself to the computer, and I'm going to have to slave away at the keyboard 18 hours a day for 3 or 4 months to churn out a book. And so most people are like, I just don't have time to write a book. I'd like to write a book. It's kind of like a book is like working out. People want to have worked out. People want to have lost weight. People want to have studied for their tests in college, but nobody wants to actually work out, lose the weight, or study. And the cool thing is that now with the advent of AI tools and specifically with the AI genies, we can help you get that book done lickety split quick. And I've been teaching people how to write books for over 2 decades now, and have been doing it myself for going on 26 years. So I know a little bit about it. And interestingly enough, most people go through this thought process that I'm going to publish a book and I'm going to live forever off of the royalties. I'm going to sell this book and this publisher is going to send me checks every single month and I'm going to get rich. That's a fantasy. That's not reality. Reality is publishers print books, authors sell books. Now, if publishers print books and authors sell books, why would I want to give 85% of the money to the printer? Screw that. I can print them myself.
Yeah.
And so after getting rejected by 40 publishers back in the 90s, I decided that I was just going to start using my book as a business tool. And so at the time I was in real estate, I was a real estate agent. I had been a mortgage broker for a number of years, got tired of it, decided, you know what, I'm seeing these realtors do this thing. I can do a better job. So I'll do this while I'm figuring things out. So I took my book on how to sell your house yourself, self-published it, meaning I took it down to self-publishing, meaning I took it down to Kinko's, had it photocopied, and had a construction paper cover put on it, and then had it comb bound. So it looked like the science report from 8th grade science class, but it was a real book. And so what I did was I used it as a calling card on for sale by owners specifically. And I gave them a copy of my book. And one of three things happened. One, they read the book and they sold their house and gave me a testimonial. Number two, they read the book and said, there ain't no way I'm doing this. Why don't you come do this for me? Or number three, they fiddle-farted around, sold the house some kind of way, but I had an in to help them buy their next house. So, and I guess number four, some of them threw them away. But how effective was that? Well, my first full year in real estate, I took 52 listings. I averaged one listing a week, 52 listings. I spent $0 on advertising. I was the top listing agent in my office, all because I had a book. That's when I learned that having a book gives you the ultimate authority. I only had one real hiccup though with someone who was like, it's not a real book. I walked up to a lady's door. I'd send her a copy of the book for sale by owner. And I said, you know, hey, did you get the book? Because I thought I was really cool. I had my whole patter down and everything. And she says, it's not a real book. I said, what do you mean? She says, it's not a real book. I said, well, you know, it's a book. I self-published it. She said, no, it's not a real book. Why do you say that? Because I looked for it on Amazon. It's not on Amazon. I was like, oh. At the time, an independent person like us couldn't get your book on Amazon. In the 90s, the only way you got on there is if you were a publisher. But that always stuck with me. And so the instant that you could publish your book on Amazon, I started publishing my books on Amazon. But what makes your book a real book now is, would you like to know the three things too?
Yes, please.
Here's what makes your book a real book. It's got a professional cover. It's got real content, edited, created by you, aimed at your target audience, and it's published on Amazon. Notice I didn't say it's print. Doesn't have to be print. Kindle book's a real book. Yeah. Kindle book, paperback, hardcover, they're all the same thing in people's minds. They see your book on Amazon, it's a real book. So that's what makes it a real book. That's what makes you a real published author. Good looking cover, really good content aimed at your niche audience, and it's published on Amazon. Now, the game is how fast can you do it? But once you do it, what does that get you? So just by the fact that you have a book, you have massively enhanced credibility, because we've been trained since an early age to respect, revere authors, maybe even fear them a little bit.
Yeah.
Competitive differentiation. Okay, that's a fancy thing for saying you have a book, your competitors don't. Or you have a book, you've had a book for a while, and then that chucklehead comes along and has a book, and people are always comparing their book to your book. So you want to get a book done as soon as possible. I can't tell you how many books I see in the space where you got guys that are former this and former that are coming out with their one book on tactical fitness. And I'm like, nah, I know the dude that started that genre. He's got a bunch of books.
Yeah.
But I mean, how many of you guys have this book, Copywriting Secrets? Yeah. 100,000 copies of this book sold all over the world. So that gives me credibility, but also creates the opportunity for speaking. If you have a book, that's like one of the criteria for getting invited to speak. Do you have a book? Every speaker wants to be an author, and most authors want to be speakers, especially if they're using it for entrepreneurial purposes. If you want to speak more, you better have a book. You want to coach more, you better have a book. You want to be seen as the authority, you better have a book. You just have to.
True.
Networking. If you have a book, imagine this. You're at a meeting. You're at a networking meeting. You're at some kind of a conference. There's somebody you want to meet. You walk up to them and you say, hey, I know you don't know me, but I know you from this or that. I always wanted to meet you, and I wanted to give you a copy of my book. Nobody says, get away from me. They say, oh, thank you. You can even say, hey, I even signed it for you. And they're like, dang, that's cool. Hey, could we get a selfie with it? And they're like, yeah, sure. I mean, now all of a sudden you at least have met that person, and the book gives you the entree to be able to do that. And I know you've done that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And let me tell you, I've been on both sides of this coin, Jim. So if you're debating whether or not you should get a publisher and get a real book, or you should create your own, I have done 12 published books, and I have done over 40 self-published books for a reason, because I make a lot more money off self-published books. And every one of those published books, I thought this one is it.
Right.
This one's going to be the one.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And it's not, because like I said, publishers don't sell books, they print books. Authors sell books. And so intrinsically, if I know that if I push this book through a regular publisher, I'm going to make 15 cents on the dollar when they decide to finally pay me.
Yeah.
As opposed to I go out and push this book, and it's like every time I do this, I know I'm going to make $100 because I've got a funnel set up around it. Which one am I going to push harder? It's really it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a great PR tool. I know people that have gotten entire series done because they had a book, sent it out to the right people in their local market. Buddy of mine, Suzanne Hetz, animal behaviorist, was able to get a multi-part series on local TV because she sent a copy of her book, which she wrote in one of our programs, to the local news. And they were like, we love this. We basically want to do a show on each one of these mistakes that people make with dog training. Making money. You can use use your book as a bonus. You can use it as the textbook for a coaching program. You can use it to just sell copies of it, and to create a funnel around it. And last but not least, and I think this is important, you talk about legacy or talk about just leaving something cool behind. 100,000 copies of this book are out in the world somewhere. I bet you 50, 100 years from now, at least one or two of them will survive. And all I would hope is that some dude would come across this in like a used bookstore or something and would go, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This dude did something really cool like 100 years ago, kind of like we do with Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich or stuff like that. I think that there will be a couple of copies somewhere, or maybe they'll use it as a doorstop kindling, toilet papers, all this green stuff. Somebody can, toilet paper in the future. Point is, having a book has a whole lot of upside in your business. And so we know it works for Jim and Stu because, hey, we're smart, right? Stu, it's a smart dude. Yeah. Or you can look at the two of us and say, if those two chuckleheads can do it, I know I can do it. And so what I'd like to do is bring on a few folks that went through our last challenge, WriteYourBook.ai, went through the challenge, and just have you hear from them real quick about their experiences with that program and how being an author either for the first or second or third or subsequent time has changed stuff for them. So first I'd like to bring on Mr. David Wilcox. What's up, David?
Hi, Jim. Hi, Stu.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm doing well today.
You're coming to us from the highest alpine valley in the continental United States. Did I hear that right?
Yes, sir. San Luis Valley. It's kind of like a desert, but it's high.
Like the high desert
Sounds,
plain, right?
Yep.
Is that, is
Lots
that
of
what that is?
sagebrush.
Yeah.
it sounds like Sedona. It's like the desert, only high. It's, anyway.
We have a mystical place here called Crestone also.
Okay, awesome. So David, who is your target audience? Who do you serve?
You should have one. I have two.
Okay.
Contractors that need websites. That's plumbers, electricians, builders, custom home builders who don't rank on Google because maybe they just moved to the area and all their reviews come from somewhere else.
Okay.
And the Write Your Book Challenge, with the book that I wrote, helped me to establish that some of these self-published authors don't have websites that are their central hub for their marketing activities. So my book's centered around creating your personal brand author website using WordPress, and I offer training and done for you services in that realm.
Awesome. So what made you want to write a book?
I followed you for a long time, and I knew that you have experience in this, and it's actually the first project that I've completed in a very long time because of the step-by-step do it this way nature of the training. You can get through this and you can do it and you can accomplish it. It's not like, oh, here you're going to build a whole complete marketing system and you have to buy all these extra tools and figure out how to use each one, because this gives you everything you need and tells you how to get your cover done, which is the only thing you shouldn't do yourself if you're not a graphic artist.
Now, had you ever tried to write a book before? Had you ever started and stopped, or just never even got going?
No, I hadn't had a book. I've had some like fiction ideas and things like that, but by reading all the business books that I have in the last 20 years, every one of these you notice is a sales tool to present the person's services or products or whatever. I mean, going back to Robert Allen selling houses, nothing down in the 80s, it leads to a seminar, which leads to more training and more revenue if you have your what you call the value ladder set up appropriately.
Okay.
So that's where I'm headed with this.
So now that you are an author, what is life like? What is your plan moving forward, or how have things changed just in the last couple months?
I think it's more of a mental thing. Prior to writing a book, and by writing this mistakes book, you can identify with your audience, and you now know that you're not the imposter you thought you might be, where you can move ahead because you have answers to questions, and you have to be one or two steps ahead of your audience, which you can do, and then that gives you the confidence you need to move forward with any of your plans, your coaching, consulting, other books, things like that.
Okay. And so what would you say to somebody? Well, okay, let me ask you this. How did you feel about using AI to do the process or to help you get that first draft done as opposed to writing it yourself?
I didn't really have a problem with it. I think one of the challenges that everybody who's going to write anything, whether it's sales copy, a book, a blog post, a Facebook ad, it doesn't matter if you're in marketplace and trying to sell a used car, you're staring at a blank page. AI alleviates that blank page syndrome. It gives you a starting point for creating just about anything, whether it's images or text or sales copy. The book just generates ideas that you can then focus on and rewrite, edit, change to make it based on your own story.
And so when you were done with the process, did you feel like you owned the book? I mean, did you feel like it was your book rather than just something that you had popped out?
Yeah, because I had a lot of time, so I was able to work on it a little more than other people. Some people were, I'm retired, so I had plenty of time to work on this along with some other projects. Some people felt they were under a crunch and not getting the results they wanted. And the thing is to step out of your comfort zone and realize it's not handing you a finished product. It's handing you a starting product that you can go in and refine and make your own. Tell me the rest of the question again. I'm sorry, I've lost track.
That was fine. That was a good
Okay.
answer. You answered the whole question. So to sum it up, what would you say to somebody who's on the fence about using AI or joining the challenge? Why can't they just go use ChatGPT and do it themselves?
Because you don't know what questions to ask. You don't know the steps involved. Uh, you lay this out in such a well detailed um, sequence of events that each day you have something to accomplish, and it can be done easily just by following the instructions. You don't have to become a prompt engineer, which is what a lot of people would try to sell you on using AI to write books, because you've done all the engineering behind the scenes and provide that to your students.
Awesome. Any other questions for David, Stu?
I guess my big one for you, sir, is whenever you wrote this book and you're using that avatar to get into the mind of your target audience, did you find when it was complete that you now had this very organized laundry list of answers to their problems? Right, like each chapter in my head, whenever I bump into somebody who is in my target audience and they just start talking, I now have this very well organized process in my brain because of this book. And I can go chapter 2, boom, this is why you messed this up, this is why you
Yeah,
messed this up. Each one is like boom boom boom, and it just seems like you said in there, like it's just a really mental boost for you. And I think for me, it just clears up my brain with so many different ways I can go, and I can now target specifically and answer them quickly, even if it's in an elevator.
exactly. That's the elevator thing. Each section you can rephrase and provide an elevator pitch. If somebody has a problem, you can explain, well, this isn't uncommon. A lot of people have had this, and this is how I've helped them, and that can lead into a bigger conversation about how you can help them with more things.
Yeah,
Awesome.
nice.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, David, we appreciate you, man. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. And
Appreciate it.
we'll talk to you soon. All right. Next up, we have Sarah Pitts. What's up, Sarah?
Hey guys.
So
Hello.
Sarah is unusual in that Sarah has grown over the years into more than just a customer. Not that you're just a customer, but she has evolved from customer to friend to now she's part of our team, and she is our top avatar coach. So when people get one-on-one help with their avatar, either Sarah or Marty are the ones that help them. But Sarah's the main one right now, and actually will be helping me to teach the 2-hour avatar sprint tomorrow.
Mhm.
That is the official, semi-official kickoff to the next WriteYourBook.ai challenge. So Sarah's actually in an unusual position in that, like some of our customers, she's done all my different book writing things. She's done 7-day ebook. She did 3-hour Kindle book. She did WriteYourBook.ai. She's tried stuff on her own. And so, Sarah, let me ask you, rather than me telling people, what in your mind is the difference between those three? Because I think some people might be saying, hey, I bought your 7-day ebook, Jim. Why would I want to do WriteYourBook.ai? Or I bought 3-hour Kindle Book Wizard. Why would I want to do that? How is that different? So what's your impression of all those different things?
Yeah, I mean, when I came to you, the 3-hour Kindle book wizard was already available, so I kind of went through that on my own. Um, and I found that trying to do it myself without any kind of support or guidance or step-by-step instructions was, well, I'll do that later, and you kind of never get back to it, you know? I did the 7-day ebook challenge when you did it. I think I did that a couple of times, and it was based around an interview. I always struggled with the fact that I don't have anybody to interview me. So I was like, well, I can't do that. I'll have to write my own book. So I ended up kind of shoving a whole load of blog posts together and kind of making my own book out of that. I don't personally enjoy reading interview books either. So it wasn't something that appealed to me to write. But the WriteYourBook.ai challenge was basically everything out of my own head. So I was writing my book. It was just that the AI was helping. So I think the support along the 3 challenges has grown as well. So the community around the WriteYourBook.ai challenge was amazing. The calendars and the step-by-step, it just made it so easy. I mean, I was finding myself in a new job, just as you said, this is the challenge we're doing. By the way, you need to write a book as well. I was like, oh, what am I going to write the book about? So I was trying to kind of settle into a new job and find the time to write the book. So I was like, AI, oh my God, this is a godsend. I can't write this without it. And it was a real boost in terms of, okay, this is what I'm going to say. I'll get the AI to write it out and I'll just make the edits as I go. It was a lot quicker that way for me. It was a very stressful period that the AI really helped me through.
So talk a little bit more about, you said the AI helped me write the book I would have written, or that's what I heard you say, but talk a little bit more about just, I think what people are afraid of when we say, or not afraid of, but there's like 2 camps. There's some people are like, you know what, I just want the thing to spit something out. And if it's good, then I just like, I don't want to have to do it. These would be the kids, if like now with ChatGPT or something, they'd be writing term papers and would spend more time trying to like cheat with the GPT detector than they would actually writing the thing themselves. But then there's another camp of people are like, I really want to write a book. I just don't have time. But I feel like it's cheating to use these AI tools because it's not really, I didn't really write it. But I heard in your voice that this is like the happy medium in between all that stuff.
Yeah, because the genies that you've created, they structure the chapters, they lay it out really logically, and for me that suits me really well. And the AI came up with some ideas that I would never have thought of, but actually really triggered some creativity in me that made me think, oh, I've used an example like this, or this is something I've done before that I'd totally forgotten about. But the AI when it created it, I was like, oh, that's brilliant. I need to use this example. And, and it really helped me to pull out of myself what I would have said.
Okay. But was the structure flexible enough that if you wanted to go in another direction, or if you wanted to add stuff, or you wanted to do more than just the minimum that we were laying out for you, you could do that as well?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the AI is just a tool at the end of the day. The book itself was mine. It's what I wanted to say. So if I didn't like what the genie gave me, then I would either rerun it or rewrite it or just write something completely opposite if I wanted to,
Okay. So how has that, now this wasn't your first book though.
No,
Is it your 3rd book, 4th book?
this was my first book.
Okay. Don't, it's like holding it up like it's dirty or something.
Yeah. No, this is my 4th book.
Okay. And so how are you using the book? How has it affected your business? Have you had time to promote it? Has it gotten you anything good coming out of it?
Yeah, I mean, I am actively trying to find opportunities now to be on podcasts like this and, be guest blogging and places like that. So when I'm replying to people or when I'm asking people if I can be on their podcast, I'm like, look, I'm just sending them a copy of the book going, look, this is what I do. This is the approach I'm taking. If you think it's suitable, then let me know and we can have a conversation about it. So it's really helpful in 2 respects. One is that people can see that I've written a book about it, and 2, they can find out more about what I think in more detail. So they can see whether it's suitable for their audience or whether it's different to what they've heard before or anything like that pretty quickly.
Is sending the book as part of your approach program helpful? Do you feel
Yes.
like it helps to open the door faster than just being a chucklehead showing up? Can I be on your podcast?
Yeah, and I think for guests that or interviewees that people I want to interview, it really helps us get on the same page quicker. You know, if they're coming to talk to my audience, then I send them the book and they're like, oh, this is who the people are. You know? So that's helpful.
I like
Hey,
it.
I have a question for you real quick. Have you thought, yeah, like you open up, you held up your first book, your second book, your third book. Have you thought of perhaps updating that first book using the new system?
No, I haven't, but I could do.
Well, let me tell you what I have done in the last couple of months is I updated several of my books that are not only on Amazon but on my other websites as well. And because I updated them, and all I did was change the standards of the workouts that changed within the military, because like they change
Sure.
fitness standards all the time. So I just had to update them for that, and it was very little updates. But because I went in and updated it, I don't know what happened, but it reset something in the Amazon world where I saw a 300% increase in sales
Wow.
those 2 months since I updated it. I
Your
forgot to
results
tell
may
you that.
vary.
I
Your results
I
may
forgot
vary.
I forgot to tell you that, Jim.
This is not an income claim. Your results may vary, but
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah.
No, I forgot to, so I was like, I'm gonna go update all my Amazon books,
Well, you know,
because they're real easy, especially when they're ebooks. You know, they're real easy to update. So
but it's
something to
funny.
consider.
It's funny you bring that up because this next suite of genies that we're releasing for this, which everybody will have access to for a month during the challenge. So I mean, the challenge is 2 weeks. You could literally do 2 or 3 books worth in that time frame. But this next suite of genies really would lend themselves to that, frankly,
Yeah.
in a big way. So that's a great suggestion. That's a great suggestion, Stu. That's awesome. Um, that's really cool to hear that
Yeah.
updating those and seeing that increase in sales. What would you say, Sarah, to somebody who is on the fence about doing the challenge, on the fence about the whole thing?
Just do it. It's honestly, it's the support that you get from following the program and everybody else doing it too. It's infectious. You know, you want to keep up with other people. The tasks every day are so simple that you can fit it in even if your life's really stressful. You know, and the end result is you do have a published book on Amazon, which you can then use in your business. So if you want to grow your business or you want to feel like you're an authority in the world that you want to be in, then it's a no-brainer, really.
You know, something I
Absolutely.
enjoyed, Sarah, was the going on to the Facebook page and just watching everybody send their updates each week from, or each
Each
couple of
day.
days. Yeah, each day,
Yeah.
because they get their cover back,
Yeah,
right? And then you could just see they were so motivated. Or they send 3 covers, like, here's which one do you like the best? And the whole
yeah,
community just jumped in and just said, "Oh yeah, this is awesome." You know, I had so much fun just scrolling through that Facebook page
yeah.
because it was motivating.
Oh, it
And
was. Yeah. And if you got
and what
left
I'm
behind at any stage, there was days built in where you could just catch up.
Yeah.
yes. And what I'm showing right now, these we set up a special library to help people promote their books. But these are the books of the people who did it in 2 weeks. So, I mean, we've got, I
It
mean,
was
there's
over
crap ton.
100, wasn't it?
As 151 people got it done in 2 weeks. And then
Damn.
within another week, we had another 30. So we're up to 181 people in 21 days.
Wow.
went from 0 to their book done, published on Amazon. And why are they real authors? Because they got a cool cover, they got good original content, and it's published on Amazon.
I think that was the thing that I was afraid of most, was that it wasn't going to be original. You know, it would just sound the same as everybody else. But
Right.
I think having the opportunity to edit it and add my own stories and add my own ways of doing things into it, you know, it doesn't matter if it's the same content that somebody else might say, because your audience, the way that you say it, how you put it across, and the examples that you give and stuff like that, your own stories are what attract people to the way that you say it, you know?
Right. And also integrating, it's not just going, it's not going to ChatGPT and asking it a question or something. We integrate the frameworks with the avatar, with the requests and everything. So it's a holistic approach.
Mhm.
It's not repetitive. Anyway. Well, Sarah, thank you. We appreciate you. And actually, everybody who is in the challenge will be seeing you with me tomorrow teaching the kickoff of the Avatar Sprint. So awesome. Thank you, Sarah.
See ya.
All righty. So next up, we have Miss Jocelyn. What's up,
Hello.
Jocelyn?
Hi, Jim.
Absolutely. She's like, I didn't know if she was gonna. I don't know if it's me. So that means you're next, Carl. Okay, just so you know, it's like he's ready. Jocelyn, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Jim.
Now you don't actually live that far away. You're over in Williamsburg, right?
I am over in Williamsburg. Yeah.
There you go. You're halfway between Stu and me.
Yeah.
So
Well,
awesome.
Good to know.
There you go. So Jocelyn, what made you want to write a book?
You know, honestly, I had written a book before, and it came out at the end of Christmas of 2022. So I too had no intention of writing another book, but I thought I'd check out the challenge.
Okay.
And because I just didn't feel that there was another business book in me. And I thought, well, okay, let's see where this goes. Let me go play with this.
Okay.
And from that, I actually realized that what we're focusing on is a business. What if I wrote a book based around that? So I started doing the exercises every day based around.
So you dipped your toe in the water without any commitment whatsoever. You were like, let's see if this can, let's see if this will work.
Yeah, that was, I was skeptical because the area that I'm focusing on has to do with business certification. And I thought, how much can be out there? And I mean, I know the mistakes that I've seen people make and that we've experienced, but I thought there's no way that this genie, quite honestly, is going to come up with everything. So I was very skeptical. But then I found that it really helped.
She didn't want to admit it.
I didn't want to admit it. No, I mean, it really helped. I was really pleasantly surprised.
Okay. So when did you go, at what part in the process, what point did you kind of go from, hey, I'm not just dipping my foot in the pool, but if I get in and swim, I can maybe make it to the other side. What made you commit to getting her done?
It was when we generated the first couple of chapters.
Okay.
And seeing how it was writing, and I realized that while I needed to edit, and there were some things that I wouldn't maybe say that way or like that really it was bringing together stuff really, really fast. Like I was like, oh my gosh, if I sat here, it would take me, 3 months to do this. And instead I'm doing it in just a couple of seconds. And even though I found that I had to tweak the avatar just a little bit, because there were certain things that was spitting out that I was like, yeah, that's not right. And I knew that it wasn't right in the avatar. So
Okay.
I did that with the first couple of chapters, and I tweaked tone too.
Okay.
And once I got those down, Jim, I was hooked to get it done within the challenge time frame. I mean, I was like, okay, let's go. So
Awesome. Excellent.
Yeah. When I saw that first chapter pop out, I was like, oh man, this is really a good system, because it was basically all I had in my head was, if I'm going to write a book, and I had no book writing in me at the time, I was burnt. If I was going to write a book, this is what I was going to write about. So I put that into my avatar. And when that spit out the first chapter, I was like, okay, I could do this. Definitely do this. It's so much easier to edit, but I have prompted all the things I wanted to say in a way, and then just made it sound like me, the way I would write it, like you would, like you just mentioned, put my soul into it. And that was so much easier than trying to come up from scratch with what I wanted to talk about.
yeah.
Because I think everybody says they have a book in them, right? I said, oh, I'd love to write a book. My mom did it for years. She said, oh, I'd love to write a book about this and this and this, right? And just never did it. And by using this system, it takes your book idea and lets you see it one chapter at a time.
That's probably the biggest thing I liked, was I could generate one chapter at a time. But I also like the fact that I was never one who wanted to write business books. So even my first one ended up as a business book, and that ended up being a almost 2-year endeavor. And because it's not something that, even though, Jim, you were saying, like, the marketing and everything that everybody talks about in business, but I was very reluctant on that. So when I realized that I could take a couple of the key areas, like I've got another one in me now that I need to go do using these, but was that a couple of the key areas that I work in business-wise, that I could do it, but do it so much easier. Shorten that process. That was what I realized I was able to do without going, is this right? Is that right? And it was so much easier to edit.
And exactly. And the big thing that we built into it is reducing that friction. And you're a great example, Jocelyn, of me. I trick you into actually doing it, because instead of like you show up and like, oh, this is going to be really hard, and it's like, oh, all I got to do is just this today, and I'm on my way. Well, I can do that. And then the next day it's like, oh, well, just do this and they can do that. You mean this is all? Yep, that's all you got to do. And then the next day it's like, this is all you got to do. And now all of a sudden the train has left the station and you're happily hanging out in the bar car getting stuff done. And then and then there's this moment when you're like, dang, I'm really doing this and I'm almost done. And that's why, screw it, I'll just get it done. So that's built into the process as well, and that's done on purpose. I'm not just a former trailer park resident. I have a brain. So I'm excited. Well, thank you, Jocelyn. What would you say to somebody who's on the fence about jumping on?
I would tell anybody who's on the fence about jumping on that just go do it. I mean, it will help you get your thoughts in order, even if you get to the end of it and you still want to fiddle with it. It'll really help you get your thoughts in order. And the other piece is, what I found was there's certain pieces of the book writing, like the bio and like that it actually helped me refine. And it helped me refine that bio to the point that we're using that bio in other places now.
What?
So, yeah.
You mean it has multiple applications?
Yes, it has multiple applications, and getting your stories together. I mean, that's the other side of it. So like I had some stories, but if I can think of a story, there was a way to go in and ask the genie, hey, can you formulate a story that's like this? And then that would start me thinking, and I'd be able to pull my own stories over into it. And so I think that's why, if nothing else, it'll help you get organized in your thoughts, and then you know, what you want to say.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jocelyn. We appreciate you. And we'll see you soon.
All right. Bye.
All righty. So next is Mr. Carl. What's up, Carl? Oh, check out his Swagalicious t-shirt. There you go. I don't think I can hear you, man. Check your mute, check your volume, make sure you nope.
Not yet.
While he's getting it straight, just want to point out here's Carl's book, Speak Confidently on Camera. So he's got the camera thing down. He got the camera thing down, brother. Now we got to work on the microphone. See, I'm gonna bust his chops now because Dexter and I say it's like he's our brother from another mother. You got it yet?
Not sure what that means.
I'm not sure what that means either.
He has to do it by phone.
It's gonna. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's try it. Let's see how.
Okay.
See how it works.
You got to try and come in the studio, and I'll let you in. Okay, here we go. All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to remove that one.
You got to change the title of your book to phone camera phone.
So you're going to have to mute us on your computer screen just because we're getting slapped back.
I'm gonna go to a different place. You know why? Monty's gonna laugh at me for this. My computer froze.
Oh snap! That's not good. He didn't build your computer for you, did he?
Right. All right. Okay, we got it working.
I'm on my Monty box now, so that thing works real well. All right.
Right on.
So
right on, guys.
Well, we'll do this lickety split because I don't want the neighbors all think you're crazy anyway. But so
I'm crazy.
What made you want to write a book, Carl?
You know, you get that voice inside of you that says, you know what, it's time. It's time to do it, make it happen. And that's what did it. Simply put, that.
Okay.
You know, and for me, yeah, and I've been a student of yours, Jim, since 2018. And I looked at the 7-day ebook. I was like, I'll get to it. Never got to it. But this helped me to get to it.
Why do you think this got you to get to it as opposed to other stuff, self-study stuff?
Right. So for me, sorry, I'm walking around. So on my phone to die now. I had to do this. So for me, what got me to get to it was because, I'm sorry, repeat that question, Jim. Sorry. I had to get my phone charged.
What got you off the mark to finally do it as opposed to doing one of the self-study things? Because I mean, I've got other stuff. You could do 7-day ebook, you could do 3-hour Kindle book, you know, that kind of stuff. But what made you do this? Like, this is what got it done this time.
So for me, you know, what got it done for me was listening to you. And honestly, the copy and what you say, the urgency we got to have is important. Right. So for me, that helped me out as far as, okay, let me just take this step. It's time to do it. I've been waiting so long. I've been even making the decision. I was on the fence. I was like, I don't know. I'm going to do it. No, I'm not. I'm going to do it. No, I got a lot going on. I got life going on. But I was like, let me just do it. I had to make the decision because I knew that I had to take a further step in my business. You know, so in just hearing the content over time and just seeing what writing a book can do and how it could build my authority, I wanted that authority for my business. Absolutely. And if I didn't have, you know, I figured that'd be helpful.
Absolutely. Well, of course it would. Specifically, can you think of anything about the challenge that that made going through the process easier, you know, because it is not a small thing to get a book done in 2 weeks.
Right.
You know, we started out with 250 people on a Monday. 2 Mondays later, 151 of them were published authors on Amazon, and within another week we had another 30, so 181. Anybody who's
Right.
ever taught a course online, to tell, you know, 250 people start on a Monday, 2 weeks later, how many people have actually done it? People like 3, 4,
Right.
5. No, for real.
Right.
You ask anybody that's actually taught something, like, you know, I asked guys, gals that, and they're like, you know, how many you think? Maybe 25. And no, we had 151 actually do it all the way through. They were like, that, I don't believe you.
Right.
And so what made the difference, Carl? Because you've been a student, you've been a teacher, you've been a coach, a trainer for years now, taught professional dance and everything. You've seen people come, go with the dream, they quit. Why
Right.
did so many people actually finish this?
You know, definitely the tools. The AI tools were amazing. I got to speak to the community too. Yeah, your team is amazing. I mean, having you guys on, listening to your other shows, watching your example, but also when Sarah and NJ coming in too, and just the community. Stu spoke to this as well. Just the community in and of itself, and the excitement that was brought in that community was powerful. So leading up to that and going into that, the experience. I'm really into experiences. The experience of the community and the environment that you all created was consistent. You know, it was consistent with the excitement and the zeal about it. And just, it was so thorough. And I was just very impressed by that. I was like, I got to be part of this.
Okay, awesome. So how is life? You got your book done. Have you been
Right.
using it as the tool you expected that you would? What's
I,
post publishing life like?
yeah, post-publishing life. For me, I'm amazed. So I went to 2 different events. There's one event I went to where it was a memorial for a good friend of mine, one of my longtime students for about over a decade. And there's a woman who spoke at this event. And before she spoke, because she was hosting the event, before she spoke, she said, you know what? I'm very nervous about doing this. I'm not a speaker, but I did read Carl's book. And she didn't only say that, she went through different chapters in the book.
Wow.
And for me, I'm sitting at the event like, oh, okay. Wow. I'm experiencing this in real time. So that was powerful for me. There was another event I went to where I was speaking to a friend of mine, and he was talking about what he wants to do with his business and how his wife wants to get involved with it as well, her own business. And I said, well, I wrote a book about that. He's like, you what? I'm buying the book. You know, so just having a conversation with people, like I wasn't trying to market in either case. I was just hanging out, and it marketed for me. And then another
Awesome.
thing, you know, the third thing was there's a point in time where Sarah and Jay talked about the web hub. That did it for me as well. So having a web hub where I could have a page to speak about my book, and then people go to it from you. And you talked about legacy earlier, Jim. That made me so proud. That's my legacy right there already. And I just finished the book a few months ago, and it's already leaving a legacy for me. So I'm blown away. But I think one of those key things is definitely that from the beginning to the end of the experience as a whole. The tools are powerful. You know, the way your team was tight and consistent in communication, and then part of that communication, excitement with it. I'm like, you can't go wrong with that. I already signed up for the next one.
Awesome. Awesome. I appreciate that, man. What would you say to somebody who's on the fence about doing this? About either using AI or writing a book or doing the challenge?
If you are on the fence, you might decide to do it. Just decide to do it first of all. Once you decide to do it, here's a bonus. Once you decide to do it, even if you're doubting, you might say, I don't know what's going to happen. Even if you feel that doubt, still move forward. Because once you move forward and once you look back, you're not going to say, wow. You're going to say, oh my goodness, I can't believe I did this. You're going to be blown away. I promise you.
Awesome. 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 Appreciate you, Carl. Love you, brother.
Love you, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for your patience with the technology.
Oh, you're doing great. Thanks, man. Okay. So Stu, we want to wrap this up real quick. I want to thank all of our guests. I appreciate all of you, everybody. Really, 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 really appreciate y'all joining us and helping us and just being a part of today's show. If you want the authority that comes with being an author, if you want to be able to have a tool that will help you to do everything from network better, to teach better, to explain your system, to explain your philosophy, if you want to build a legacy, if you want to do something cool, then WriteYourBook.ai, the challenge that we're doing, the Authority Book Challenge, is exactly where you want to be. Full disclosure, this book right here that I just published, I wrote using the genies in this next challenge. We leveraged this book before I even published it up on Amazon. We leveraged this book to make $50,000 in 72 hours. How did I do it? Because we used this book as a bonus at an event to get people to sign up for CopyAndContent.AI. So without it being published, without anybody even knowing I had written it, pulling it out of a box, and as part of my pitch saying, and you will leave here today with a signed copy of my latest book, The Secret Sales Code. Sign up on your phone, walk up here, show me your receipt, and you will leave with a copy of this book signed. And I had freaking carpal tunnel by the end. And let me tell you what, these people come walking up and they're like, I want my book. Here's my thing. I want my book. And like they would go sign up, and the next morning they come up. We're just barely getting through. I'm here for my book. They got their phone out. They're like, I'm here for my book. Here's my receipt. I'm like, all right, let's do this. So this is real. This is not one of those things that you see that you're like, hey, is this real deal or anything like that? We've got, almost 200 people went through the last challenge. Here are just some of their books. And we're doing it again. A lot of them have already signed up to do it again. A lot of them have signed up and said, you know what, I want to write another book. Because last time we did a mistakes book, this time we're doing an authority book. So we're doing different, got all new Wizard Suite. It's going to be amazing. And I love how everybody on my team like leans, it shows how I lean on, like, we're going through this. You have to write a book while we do this too. Sarah's like, oh, I have to write a book. Stu's like, yeah, I have to write a book. Susan wrote a book. Got to write the book, man.
Hey, you pulled it out of me, Jim.
That's right.
It really worked. And like Carl said, it is an excitement around the community of people doing it together. I think that is a priceless addition to this process.
Right. So here's the thing. If you want to get that book done, join us at WriteYourBook.ai. We'd love to have you. All your questions get answered. The process, it's like a grease shoot. You just show up on Monday, pay attention, do what I tell you, go all in, it'll get done. And going all in isn't like, working out with Stu with a double sandbag Murph. Those of you that know anything about working out know that sucks like nothing, that sucks like nothing has ever sucked before. You show up, all I ask is you just give me 90 minutes a day for a couple of weeks, and this puppy will be done. So appreciate y'all. Head on over to WriteYourBook.ai. Sign up now. Sign up right now, because tomorrow we're going to be doing the live avatar sprint, and then you will start writing your book on Monday. So great job, Stu. Appreciate it. Appreciate all of our guests. Everybody have a great day, and we'll see you on the challenge. Bye-bye, everybody.